Let's go to Wednesday. There are 11 games in the NBA. Let's preview them. Let's look at streaming options. Let's look at how the schedule plays out, Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and I'll have a cougar thanks with a slice of lemon. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky, joshloyd.bsky.social, on Twitter at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Also go to lockedondaily.com. Find the best, best newsletter for your favorite NBA team. Get across there, sign up, get it into your inbox for free. Also, thumbing up this video, subscribing to this video, audio double banging, video double banging, all that stuff is great. Live trade deadline show Thursday, February the 6th at 1 p.m. Eastern. Yep, 1 p.m. Eastern. So let's look at these games on National Corn Chip Day. There are 11 of them on Wednesday. Do you like corn chips? What ones? Triangles, circles, blue corn. Blue corn's the goat corn. Shout out to blue corn. Let's take a look at what is on my radar for these games. First game up is the Charlotte Hornets. Oh no. They're hosting the Brooklyn Nets, and we are getting a very clear pattern from a lot of teams. We're bad, you're bad, nobody plays. It's going to be a continued problem as we move forward. This is a schedule minus spot for the Nets. It's a plus for the Hornets, but there's a million guys out. Bojan Bogdanovic out, Trent Watford out, Maxwell Lewis out, Cam Thomas out, Cam Johnson out. Noah Clowney is, I believe, officially out as well. I didn't think he'd play after injuring that ankle, but he is out. Ben Simmons, though, interesting. He's off the injury report. So it looks like we're going to get Benny back. Also, Trent Watford actually is also off the injury report. So he could be just a straight swap almost in for Noah Clowney. So just watch him. Oh, we've got the news, an update here on Clowney. Just seeing if there's any more update on that. No, just saying there was something just came through about Clowney, but it wasn't anything interesting. Anyway, that's all good. But the Hornets, Trey Mann's out, we know that. LaMelo Ball sprained his ankle yesterday, he's out. And then they're just sitting everybody. Josh Green out, Mark Williams out. Why? I don't know. Well, I do know, but I don't know what's the actual reason. Foot soreness for Josh Green. Sure. Foot injury management for Mark. This is not a back-to-back. Their back-to-back is coming at the end of the week. So this is terrible news in terms of trying to, prepare for this stuff. Because they're obviously, against a bad team, they're just not going to play guys. So get ready for foolishness here. On the Nets side of things, I want to watch Jalen Wilson, who's played a lot of minutes lately. He hasn't been awesome, but he's played a lot of minutes. And that's at least something worth considering and worth using. On the Hornets, I think that you can grab Josh Okogie. There's no LaMelo, and Okogie's not a point guard. But Nick Smith can play it as a point guard. But now there's also no Josh Green. And Okogie does need a lot of minutes and really good shooting to provide good value. But at the moment, I think that the volume in this game actually pushes him above that. It's also going to be a lot of value in the big men, like Moussa Diabate is going to have to play a lot more now as well because Mark isn't in this one. For the Nets, Day'Ron Sharpe is worth streaming with Clowney out. I'd also be marginally considering Trendon Watford, given that he could slide into Clowney's spot. And then Vassell is also an interesting stream for the Hornets, but you've got Micic, you've got Smith, you've got Okogie, you've got Diabate. There are this whole day, I think, is going to be dominated by Charlotte streaming options. The second game, it's the Pistons the Pistons are on the road actually against the Indiana Pacers. The Pacers are 5.5-point favorites here. It's a schedule plus for Detroit. The only guy on the injury report is old mate Andy Nembhard with a back sprain. Not a great injury to have. They've been over in Paris, obviously, and returning here for another 2-game week. If Nembhard is out, then McConnell and Mathurin bump up. What we want to watch in Detroit is Asar Thompson's role, because he played 20 minutes last game, didn't hit a single shot. He needs 25-ish, I'm guessing, to be a 12-teamer, and that really is debatable. So we're watching where his role is. And on the Pacers, if Nembhard is out, what does it mean for Mathurin? Because Mathurin's not good enough when that backcourt is healthy to be a 12-team league player. So let's see how he looks. On the stream side, it continues to be Leaky Beasley, who's continually above 60% available. And then TJ McConnell probably on the Pacers, especially if we do get a scenario where Nembhard is ruled out, which is distinctly possible. The next game that we look at, we've got the old Washington Wizards hosting the Toronto Raptors. It's a scheduled plus spot for Washington. The Raptors are 7.5-point favorites. We know Emmanuel Quickley is out. And then we got some, look, literally as I'm recording this now finishing this at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, and I'm recording this. Earlier in the day, we got told that Alex Sarr was out. Oh, sorry, he was questionable. But their latest injury report just dropped, and he's not on the injury report. All right, so I guess he's fine. We've got that one. That literally just happened now. For the Raptors, Emmanuel Quickley remains out. Yeah, I hope he's back soon, but he's out. Malcolm Brogdon, Kelly Olynyk is questionable after missing last game, and then Brogdon and Marvin Bagley are out on the Wizards side. But yeah, Sarr was on the injury report, and now he's not. Okay. We want to watch Chris Boucher, who's putting up some good scoring numbers in low minutes, so just keep watching how that unfolds. Also, Kyle Kuzma on the Wizards, because after one game told us he wasn't fitting in, he was going to do his thing, he played 27 minutes and was useless. So is that the new thing now? Like, I can't with this guy. It's really frustrating. Bruce Brown appears to be the stream for the Raptors while Quickley is out. His minutes were the most encouraging thing about the last game. The production wasn't there. But if he's playing 28 a night, it's interesting. But of course, Dick almost fouled out. He got 5 fouls in 19 minutes. And that allowed Brown to do more. So let's see what happens with Brown. Let's see what happens with Dick. And let's see how that value can play out. In terms of streaming on the Wizards, Keyshawn George or Bub Carrington, I don't feel super good about either of them. You could throw Corey Kispert into that mix as well if you were so inclined. The Cavs is the next game. They are playing against old mates, the Miami Heat. It's a scheduled plus spot for Cleveland and a scheduled minus for Miami. The Cavs are 8-point favorites. Dean Wade is out. He has a bone bruise in his knee. That is multiple weeks. I am talking that could be most of the regular season for Wade. He has had persistent knee problems. You know, I talked about him on the injury show yesterday, how they'd labelled it as a knee sprain. I said, given this guy's history with his knees, expect time off. And that is a long time off. But that helps with some of the value of others. What we do know is that also now Karis LeVert and Isaac Okoro have both been ruled out. So we're in that same spot again where Max Strus and Milk Jerome get to do a lot more. Jimmy Butler is suspended in Miami. Joshie Richardson is out. And Jaime Jaquez is now probable, who missed the last game with an illness. On the Cavs, Evan Mobley's returned from his injury. He's been not ideal. Well, I'd like a little bit more from him the last couple of games. Let's see if he ramps that up. And then, of course, on the Heat, it's Kel'el Ware. What can he do? Because last game, it was a really rocky start, and then he played the entirety of the second half of both overtimes. Are they locking him in as part of the key 5 guys? Robinson, Hero, Bam, Jovic, and Ware. That's what happened last game. Is that what happens this game? Max Strus is the obvious streamer for Cleveland, and with all those guys still out and Wade out long term, I don't mind getting into him now. And then Jovic is just a must-roster guy, I think, in Miami, but he's still available, so we consider that a partial stream option. Today's episode is brought to you by the Game Time app. The NFL playoffs, we want to go to them. It'd be great for me to get over there and watch a game at some point because, the atmosphere is electric and the Super Bowl is coming up and we are almost there to the end of the season, so not many more opportunities to get tickets, and Game Time enables you to get those tickets at a hassle-free sort of way to go about it. With Game Time Picks, their new feature that makes getting tickets easier for events. It fills out the fluff. It shows you only the incredible deals on the great seats, so you don't have to waste your time searching through thousands of tickets. You can find those great tickets all there. Plus, you've got the seat views where you can see exactly what you're going to see from your seat. You've got the no surprise fees at checkout with the all-in pricing, and on-time ticket delivery and lowest price guarantee that can give you that peace of mind. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create the account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. All right, let's go on to the next game. It is the Sacramento Kings and the Philadelphia 76ers. Some news for Sacramento. De'Aaron Fox. we've heard everything about this team is just so annoying. We can't possibly draft Luka Doncic because of De'Aaron Fox. Well, we can't have Halliburton and Fox together. We must move off of Halliburton. And now De'Aaron Fox is like, yeah, I'm not re-signing. That's the report now that he's just done. He's like, I'm not re-signing next year. Get me out of here. And he hasn't formally requested a trade, but the reports all sort of came at once, suggesting that they were going to look to trade him. And it might happen in the next week. And his most preferred destination is the Spurs, which would be very interesting. It would obviously very much kill Chris Paul, and it would kill Steph Castle, and it would probably kill Jeremy Sohan, and it would reduce Devin Vassell a lot. It would make them good, but it would hurt a lot of fantasy values there. But that's something to watch, obviously. And it's the back-to-back coming for the Sixers. Embiid's out. KJ Martin, I expect to be out. I expect Caleb Martin out. Paul George, it appears to be out, and the reports on him were he's had an MRI with an injury to his extensor tendon in his left fifth finger, whatever the hell that means. Well, I know what it means. It's a tendon on your finger. His return to play will be determined in the coming days. Again, tells us nothing. And then Nick Nurse says, I don't think it's anything major, and he should be day-to-day. So I guess there's a chance Paul George plays in this one, but maybe not. I would think he probably sits on Wednesday, but I don't know. Andre Drummond is out again with toe injury management, but I'm not sure if he plays on Wednesday. And Yabusele is available Tuesday. He was probable, but last time they had the back-to-back, he actually sat one of them. So it could be time for Boner. Or Drummond could play, and it could be Drummond and Boner will outplay him and get those minutes and be somewhat useful, I guess. On an 11-game day, you don't care that much, though. With Paul George out, it is going to be interesting to watch how Justin Edwards and Ricky Council handle things. In terms of stream, guys, Keon Ellis played 30 minutes last game. Is that the new thing? Or was it only because Keegan Murray was in foul trouble? Or is Keegan Murray a 25-minute a night player now? We have to watch that. But Ellis is the stream and Yabusele is the stream. And if it's not Yabusele, well, we get Boner in there instead. Next game, we're looking at Bulls-Celtics in Boston. The Celtics are 14.5-point favorites. That is a large number because we know why. Zach LaVine is out. Torrey Craig is out. And guess what? The Bulls did it again. They did it again. When Billy Donovan was asked on Monday about Coby White's injury, he said he's out Monday and he's very doubtful for Wednesday. You know what the Bulls did? Questionable. They're giving you hope that he's going to play. I feel incredibly confident that Coby White will not play on Wednesday. They have done this time and time and time again. 3 times already, and it's come true every time. We'll see what happens on this fourth one. But yeah, they've done it so many times. So do not expect Coby White to play. Maybe he does. Don't expect it. That spread would suggest he's not playing also, by the way. And then the Celtics listed a bunch of guys on the injury report as well. Now, Derek White returns. He's not on the injury report, but Jason Tatum is. And Al Horford, who was taken off the injury report and was allegedly starting last game, is back on it again. Questionable. And Sam Hauser is questionable. And Tatum is questionable. So if Hauser and Tatum and Horford are all out, well, it is Luke Cornett time again. It is a little bit more of Jaden Springer for those of you in deeper leagues. And maybe Peyton Pritchard needs to do a little bit more. Because all those guys, if Tatum is out, it could be Hauser replacing him. Or it could be Horford replacing him. But they could all be out. Meaning the Cornett would start. And there'd be a bunch of different ways they could go about that. What am I watching for on the Bulls? Last game, Dosunmu replaced Patrick Williams in the starting lineup. Now, with LaVine out, Dosunmu is holding that spot anyway. It'd be very interesting to see, though, if White returns. Will they go Giddey, White, Ball, Dosunmu? Would they do that? They probably would. Or would Williams move in ahead of somebody? So we need to watch this. We also need to watch Drew Holiday, who was slumping again and not really providing great numbers. But is he able to turn that around? Where do we value him as we move forward? In terms of stream, guys, Lonzo is the guy I look to in Chicago. Dosunmu is also in that mix, clearly. And then Luke Cornett. Many opportunities for Cornett here, especially if Horford does not play. He was great in the last one, and he could be at least marginally useful here again. The next side of things, or the next game, it's the Danilo Gallinari Bowl. The Nuggets and the Knicks. The Schedule Plus spot here is Denver. The Knicks, though, are 3-point favorites at home. Chancha is out. Mitchell Robinson is out. Pacome Dadier is out, while Josh Hart is questionable. Christian Brown continues to play unbelievably well over the last week or so. I know it's easy to say, well, Jokic just gets him open, and that is an argument, and he gets a lot of shots at the rim. It just is impossible for him to maintain 44% three-point shooting and 71% two-pointers. It won't happen. That is a guarantee. It just won't happen. All right, so while he's playing really well at the moment, to me, it's more about watching what his role is. If they play a close game, ever, does he play 27? Does he play 33? How do they use him? That's important. And for the Knicks, Mikal Bridges, it is a little under the radar. Maybe not under the radar, but like we laugh and talk and joke about Tom Thibodeau. But Bridges is like playing 34 minutes a night. Not for the entire season, but over the last week or two. Like instead of 39 or 40, he's playing like 34, 35. We keep an eye on that. For the Nuggets, streaming-wise, you go Peyton Watson because you're going to get a bushel of defensive stats usually. And then Precious Achiuwa, the big sneeze. For the Knicks would be my stream guy there as they do limit Karl-Anthony Towns' minutes at times. And Jokic could get Towns in trouble pretty easily. Although Towns has had some decent success against Jokic. The next game, we're talking Mavs. We're talking Pelicans. Yeah, of course we are. This one is in New Orleans. Dallas are 3-point favorites. Doncic is out. Lively is out. Maxi Kleber is out. Dwight Powell is out. Dante Exum's been upgraded to doubtful though. So it looks like he's going to be returning soon. Najee Marshall still questionable from his tuberculosis diagnosis. If he returns, that obviously helps them play smaller more because he can play a little bit at center. PJ Washington can, but if he is out, you saw Omax Prosper play a lot more in that last game. And then Brandon Ingram and Herb Jones are going to be out for New Orleans. Quentin Grimes is something to watch for me in Dallas. He's at least somewhat streamable without being super exciting. And then for the Pelicans, Jordan Hawkins, although last game was a disaster. And we know what he is. He's a points and threes guy who probably does need just one more person out to be locked into good enough value. In terms of the best streamers, I think it is Spencer Dinwiddie and then Yves Missi on the Pelicans. Although, with Zion there, we know that Missi's, pretty rough at the moment. Not looking great. Clippers Spurs. Injury report pretty low for this game. The Clippers are 3-point favorites. The Spurs are in a scheduled plus spot after they return home from Paris. Chris Dunn is out, and Cam Christie is questionable, I'm guessing, but that doesn't matter. I want to watch Kawhi. He got up to 28 minutes in the last game. So do they hold him at 28? Does he push higher up? How long are we away from 32-33? On the Spurs, Chris Paul was on my buy low show because he's taking less than 1 2-point attempt per game. Over the last 2 weeks. Like, come on. I want to see that bump up. I want to see the steals bump up as well because they've been absent also. In terms of streams, it is Derek Jones. It continues to be Derek Jones. He's not a must roster at all for the Clippers, but he is at least streamable. And then Steph Castle. The minutes were pretty high last game, even though Sohan was back, but it was a blowout. So where his role is, he's undetermined, but he's at least probably that best streamer over a Champagny or over Keldon Johnson, but I don't feel particularly strongly about that at all. The Phoenix Suns. Minnesota Timberwolves are in Phoenix for this game. It's a scheduled plus spot for both teams, and the Suns are 2-point favorites. DiVincenzo and Terrence Shannon are out for Minnesota. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is listed questionable, while Ryan Dunn I expect to be out. He might be back soon, but I expect that he's out. Jaden McDaniels has been absolutely flying at the moment. Defensive stats off the charts. He's shooting well. Everything has been going his way, and we want to see how it continues. On the Phoenix side of things, well, it hasn't been very good for Nick Richards in some games, and it's been awesome in others. So now he goes up against a Minnesota team which theoretically should be good and has really good big men. And that has been a real problem for Richards. So is he going to get cooked by Gobert? Is he going to get cooked by Randall or Reed? Possibly. So we're watching that, of course. On the Wolves, who are in deep leagues, it's Rob Dillingham because there's just not many other stream options there. And then Royce O'Neal, who started last game for Dunn and probably starts again. He can bring some assists, he can bring some threes, he can bring some steals. We know the limitations, but in terms of streaming, there's at least something there. Final game. Thunder, Warriors. This is a back-to-back for Golden State, so we get more information on the Warriors in their game on Tuesday. The Thunder are 10.5-point favorites here. Chet's going to be out. Lou Dort missed their last game. I expect that he's available. Kuminga's going to be out. Draymond Green's going to be out. And Steph Curry played the last back-to-back, but given that it is against the Thunder, I wouldn't be shocked if Steph rests this one. I said that I want to watch Jalen Williams there, but honestly, I don't really know how much there is to see on the Thunder. They're sort of just doing what they do. The stream guy is Rising Stars legend Carson Wallace. He's the guy we look to for steals. If you don't get him, you get Alex Caruso. And no, I didn't mispronounce his name. That is how literally the NBA officially released the roster for the Rising Stars Challenge. They called him Carson Wallace. And they obviously forgot to put Khalil Ware on that list too. We'll see. See what they do. Well, I'm sure he'll replace injured legend Jared McCain. On the Warriors, we're probably streaming Guy Santos Al Helper, but it could be Moses Moody. It could be Quentin Post. They continue to be just an absolute ongoing fantasy mess. So now, let's take a look at some schedule stuff. Back-to-backs and chunky stuff and all that stuff. That's where we're at the moment. So let's bring up the back-to-backs. There are 3 teams playing back-to-backs. That's the Wednesday, Thursday back-to-back. The Cavs, the Wolves, and the Wizards. So when you're considering a stream, Wednesday to Thursday, these are the teams to target because you get the 2 games for one. Obviously, that is, I think, relatively self-explanatory. If we're doing chunky work the next 5 days, which is literally just the remainder of this week, and again, Wednesday is an 11-game day, so it's somewhat streamable, but depends on your team. But these guys all play 3 games. Dosunmu, Lonzo Ball, Spencer Dinwiddie, Grayson Allen, Josh Okogie, and Moussa Diabate. And the reason why the Hornets are included in that is A, Ball is out, obviously. Williams is out, but their other 2 games are back-to-back. So Williams is going to sit one of those as well. Ball could easily miss the rest this week. So you could throw Mitsic in that mix also, and Josh Green's out. There's a lot of stuff that can happen here with Charlotte as we move forward. Let's look at streaming now. There are no 5s and 2s over these 7 days. So let's do streams of the day for Wednesday. You'll notice again, just a million Hornets names here. 10-teamer, Moussa Diabate. 12-team, Josh Okogie. 14-team, Vassell Mitsic. 16 teams, I go Dayron Sharp. Yahoo points, Josh Okogie. And ESPN points, Dosunmu. Lots and lots of Hornets. For the 10-team list, we're using 65% roster percentage on Basketball Monster. We'll start, of course, with Moussa Diabate, and then Josh Okogie, Lonzo Ball, Mike Conley, Carson Wallace, the Hong Kong Mattress, and Duncan Robinson. Let's look at the 12-team guys. More Hornets populate the list. Vassell Mitsic is there. Nick Smith is there. You got Milk Jerome, Alex Caruso, Royce O'Neal, and then Dayron Sharp in Brooklyn. And then for deeper leagues, a lot of these guys are deep league guys anyway, but Keyshawn George, Max Strus, Mason Plumlee, Quentin Grimes, Corey Kispert, and Zaire Williams. For Yahoo points streaming, we start with Josh Okogie. Then there is Moussa Diabate, Dosunmu, Little Chungus, Nikola Jovic, Nick Smith, and Vassell Mitsic. And for ESPN points, a similar list. But start with Dosunmu. We've got Okogie, Diabate, Jovic, Nick Smith, and Duncan Robinson. And that, on National Corn Chip Day, is a look ahead to 11 games in the NBA on Wednesday. Foolishness in many spots. Interesting opportunities in others. And one of the big opportunities for you is to hit a thumb on this video. So do that. Give us the thumb. Leave a comment. All of that down below. But also just, again, we want to be good. We want to be positive. We want to do something that is beneficial for us or for somebody else. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.